Many people in this high-priced, fast-moving market in North Texas are considering selling. Are you considering selling? Have you thought about how much money you actually have sitting in equity in your home? I can help. Let's chat. I have lots of sellers in this market asking me, what's the market going to do? What does the future hold? And I have a little story to tell. Because we don't have a crystal ball, we just have, some data, we have some economists that are telling us what to expect. So what we do think we can expect is, maybe 2 to 4 more years of this fast-paced market with low inventory. We also know that our interest rates are going to start to creep up, which may change things a little bit. Maybe it'll slow down some of the buying power for many of our buyers. But what I do know is personally, I contracted to build a new construction home in August of 2020. We were just back from kind of that first shutdown of the pandemic, and we decided to go ahead and sell our home, right? We're going to sell our home, we're going to build a new one, we're going to rent in the meantime. So this is where I tell you guys I don't have a crystal ball. I sold my home in Prosper, Texas in August of 2020. We were back to normal. The pandemic did not affect us negatively in the real estate market. This gave us enough time to know that we were back to what we would have called normal. We were back to our normal market. So in August of 2020, I sold my home in Prosper. Nothing fancy, 3,600 square feet, a little over a 1/3-acre lot in a nice neighborhood. We had put in a pool, back patio. So we had about $400,000 in the house, right? We'd lived there for a while, 10 years or so. We sold the house for $550,000 and we were very excited. It was great equity growth over those, 8 to 10 years we had been in the home. Had I waited until about February of 2021, we would have probably sold that house for $750,000. And now as the market continues to creep up, I think that house would have sold somewhere close to $800,000. So I tell you this story to let you know that we are human, right? We do not know what the future will hold, but we do know what is happening right now, and we can make decisions based on today. So as much as I wish I had that extra $200,000 or $250,000, I can't change it. And I was happy with the list price and the sale price the day that we sold the property. Now my new construction property, I've been fortunate to gain probably $300,000 or $350,000 in equity on that side. But I tell this story just to let you guys know that this market's crazy. We are human. Realtors we're doing our best to keep up with what's happening, but the data really does not tell the true story because we have those one-off buyers coming in, they're paying cash, they're paying a significant amount over our current property values, and it is really shifting what's happening in our market. So we're here to guide you, but we also want to be as honest with you as possible and let you know that we cannot tell you what comes next. We don't know what the future holds, but we do have some ideas of what you can expect, and I want to go through those steps now as to how you can best plan for you, for your needs and your goals. So the first question I would ask somebody who comes to me and says, hey, I want to sell my home. Why? Why do you want to sell? What are you looking for? Are you looking to cash out the equity? Do you need to make a move? Are you going to stay local, or are you going to move out of state or out of town? What is your entire motivation? What's your big goal as to why you want to sell your house or why you want to make a move? That's the first thing we need to know. Many people are considering selling because they know our market has increased so much in the last 2 years. We are seeing a significant equity growth. That's great news when you're selling your home. But remember, if you're going to buy your home in the same market, you're going to buy high, sell high. It can be a little bit of a wash. So it really does matter what your purpose is. If you are going to downsize, I'm not going to tell you this is a bad time to do it, but I'm going to tell you what to expect, which means your price per square foot is up from what you purchased at 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years ago. So sometimes just being prepared for what the market really has to offer is the first place you need to start. Knowing that you can sell your house and capture some of that equity, get some of the cash out, maybe pay down some other debt or downsize into a smaller property. Those are all great ideas, and we can walk you through the process. But more than anything, we just want to talk about what that process looks like for you and does it make sense. Selling may not be your best option. As much as I would love to list your house and I would love to see more inventory in this market, I also want to help you figure out what's right for you. So when we start with that why Why are you moving? Where are you going? What is your plan? We have several options. Maybe you're going to sell your house, buy an RV, and travel. This is a great time. Maybe you want to move someplace that has a little more space, a little more land. So maybe you're moving outside of your current school district. Maybe you've started homeschooling your kids. Maybe you no longer have to commute to a certain area or part of town, and you can live further away, which means it opens up your opportunities that did not exist previously. It's a great time to sell. We have lots of options for you. If you just want to get that cash out of your home, so you're going to sell this one and turn around and buy another one, we may not be seeing the same upgrade options that you were expecting because the price points are so high. As I said, when we sell high, we buy high. Once we figured out why you're moving and where you're planning to go, we need to talk about your financing options. In this fast-paced market, it's really difficult to get your offer accepted on a new home if you have to have a contingency. And what that means is you need to sell your current home in order to close on the new home. That used to be a pretty normal process. We would put a contingency in place in our offer. The property owner would accept that offer. We would go through the process. We would sell our first home before we closed on our second home. Right now, the offers are so competitive. We are competing potentially with 5, 10, 20, even 40 offers on every new home, depending on price point. So in order to be a competitive home buyer, we need to write a competitive offer. And that means your financing needs to be completely outlined. We need to know exactly what you can do in this market to help you write the strongest offer on your home purchase so that it makes sense for you to sell your home before you buy one. So some of the questions we are going to want to ask your lender is you're going to want to know, can I buy my next home without selling my current home? That doesn't mean you want to keep two houses, but it does potentially give you the opportunity to write that new home offer, get it under contract, and then put your current home on the market. What that does is it frees up your timeline so that you are not potentially homeless after selling your home because you haven't found your next property. So if you can qualify for both loans at once, this is the perfect scenario. It allows us to set up all the timelines to really meet your needs, and you can write some of the strongest offers in today's market. So many of my clients can actually qualify for both of those loans, but they don't have the cash for that new home purchase, to put the cash down. So there are some other options. We can take the cash equity out of your current home, maybe using a home equity line of credit, maybe using a cash out refi. Maybe you just need that cash and you're gonna go borrow it from your 401k. Definitely talk to your CPA about this, but I know many of my buyers have been able to borrow the cash down payment from their 401k, purchase that new home, turn around, sell the original home, pull the cash out, and pay back the 401k. My point is here, there are several options to getting to what you really want and need to do in your next move. So don't think that you are just in this box that I have to sell one home to buy the next. You might have other options and maybe we just haven't looked at them yet. Maybe we haven't asked the right questions. So we can definitely chat about that and help you work with your lender to ask the questions that will truly help you make the right offers and make that next move in this market. Something else my buyers and sellers are considering is a bridge loan. A bridge loan is simply a loan that allows you to get from the current home into the new home, and it literally builds a little bridge, right? We are not trying to hold two properties. We have every intention of selling the first home, but we just need to close that gap between the two closing dates. Maybe we get a lease back on your current property, so we get to stay there another 30 or 40 days, and that allows us a better timeline to close on that new home. Really putting all the pieces into place to best fit your timeline and your goals is what we want to do. But what I want to do today is really just share several of the options, things that you may not have ever thought about. Maybe you didn't think you could make a move in this market. And actually, it's very possible. We have lots of options. Lenders have lots of options. And really, it's more about the education piece and understanding the process and being able to ask the right questions. The timeline is the other important factor to consider here. If we are considering a new construction home for our next move, then timeline is going to be of great importance. Many of my new construction home buyers are not able to actually close on their home for 12 to 18 months after contract. I'm going to give a little leeway on both sides of that because we have many builders, especially in Collin County in the Prosper and Salina area, that have wait lists. So maybe there's 50, 100, 200 people on a wait list. When your number comes up and it's time for you to contract, that could be 3, 4, 6 months from today when we start talking about the process. So understanding your timeline, what your abilities are on those 2 homes, right? Can I buy one before I sell one? Do I need cash out? This is why we go through the process in this order. First, we need to talk about the motivation, then we need to talk about the finances, then we want to know about the timeline. If you need to make a move fast, then we're going to have a different conversation than if you want to build new construction and you have potentially 18 plus months to make that happen. For many of my buyers that are doing new construction and having to sell their current home, we are selling that current home, we are putting them in a rental while their home is being built because it allows them a little more flexibility. It's not every buyer, every seller that is able to hold those 2 mortgages or qualify for the 2 mortgages. Even though you don't close on a new construction home until it's complete, the lenders and the builders will want you to be fully approved, which means you either have to sell that first house or you have to carry both of those mortgages or be able to qualify for both of those mortgages. That way, when it's time for you to move into the new home, we put your home on the market, all of those little pieces, can fall into place if you can qualify for both loans. If not, that's when we look at selling your home up front, go ahead, take that cash equity out, and then move that into a new construction project where you potentially rent in the interim. Another option we're seeing along those same lines is many of my sellers are putting their home on the market and they are asking for a lease back. This happens a lot with families that want to finish out the school year. At least it happens a lot right now. This is not something that happened a lot in the past because we are very used to that stable, steady market where we buy a home, we close in 30 days, and we take possession. That is not necessarily the market we are in today. Those opportunities do still exist, but it also opens up the opportunity for my sellers to sell their home, take that cash equity out, start their new project, and continue to live in their current home that they sold under a leaseback. Basically, you become a tenant in your own property. I've seen these done anywhere from 30 days up to 6 and 9 months. So it absolutely can be done. It just takes the exact right buyer that's flexible on timing. And when we have such a low inventory market, that opportunity is more available because a buyer moving into this market has to be a bit more flexible, just like we're talking about the seller needing to understand the flexibility of the timeline. The buyer is really dealing with that firsthand. So if you're considering a sale, if you're considering buying a home, you definitely want to chat with a knowledgeable, professional, educated realtor in your market. If you're considering North Texas, I would love to chat with you. My team is here to help. We do have multiple agents on the team, plus we have admins. We're able to guide our clients from beginning to end. We take all the heavy lifting, all the mass communication, all the scary little pieces, right? Because you don't know, right? You don't maybe buy and sell houses every day, but we do. So what we do is we free up your time. We allow you to go do your job, spend your time and your focus on work and family while we do the job of making sure that you get into the right home for you and that we get the most money for your home when it's time to sell. So, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We would love to chat with you. We would love to welcome you to the community, and we'll see you around town.